Close the record. You're good to go?
Hey, welcome friends to another episode of Tales from the Barside. I'm Remy. This is my co-host Lauren.
Hi.
And my good buddy Paulie Brady's in town.
Howdy-ho.
Welcome, welcome,
Paulie?
welcome. Grab yourself a nice tasty beverage, sit back, and let's tell some stories about bartending and music and all kinds of stuff. So Paulie, tell everybody a little bit about yourself as if you need an introduction.
I'm a beer aficionado. I've been a brewer by trade most of my life. Also, I suffer from musicianship, so that's also something I do and have most of my life. So I tied the two together and kind of run a drinking rock and roll band called Stone Clover these days, and that's what I do.
Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. If you guys have never seen or heard Stone Clover, you need to check them out. It's absolutely fantastic music, and I'm not just saying that because I'm your friend. I absolutely love your music.
Same.
The other day too.
Yes, good stuff. And so musicians, they're not really big drinkers, are they? Like you never.
No, drugs and alcohol have nothing to do with rock and roll.
Paulie, how long have we known each other now? I think we probably met sometime around 2005, 2006. Sound about right?
I guess somewhere around 15 years is what we've probably been going around that time.
That sounds good. That's a nice round number. Let's call
it
it
works.
15
I mean,
years.
it's all fuzzy, so we can just agree somewhere around there.
That's true. Most times that we hang out, it does get fuzzy. I don't remember many nights at the old Shillelagh or your old apartment up above the old Shillelagh when you used to live there. Playing music. I barely remember a camping trip on the Rifle River one year.
Oh,
that was
you were there with never mind. There's stories I probably shouldn't tell.
Oh no, that was a great weekend. I think I
forgot about that.
I think I told that story on our camping one time. I was in a dress dancing around the fire at the end of the night. Oh god, so funny. That was actually not too long ago that we did the camping episode. So fresh in the memory.
My friends wound up on mushrooms, and no one else knew he had mushrooms because we would have all taken them too. But yeah,
right.
One random guy and mushrooms didn't work out well.
No, well, I mean sometimes that works well. I'm definitely an exception to that rule. I've been known to go and have a good time on mushrooms by myself. But bringing some to share with the rest of the class is always fun, right?
What I'm saying.
All right, so you've got some news for us. What's going on with Stone Clover these days, my friend? Tell us.
Well, obviously not a whole hell of a lot's really happening in the world of live performance and music, as you can understand. As I think we all kind of know. Much to my lament. We didn't get to perform on St. Patrick's Day. I never thought I would live to hear the words, being a kid who grew up in an Irish bar, lived above it, and played in it. St. Patrick's Day's canceled. Like, wait, what? No Christmas? What are you fucking like? How do you cancel Christmas? So since then, we lost that, and then we lost all of the entire summer festival and touring circuit, so we just haven't been doing anything. And the whole time, a few people who are close to me who know what I'm going, what's going on, said, do a fundraiser. And I'm like, nah, everybody's got this. Everybody's got this going on. I can't do that. It just doesn't make sense. But as of right now, Oakland County, the city we live in currently, has agreed to match up to $500,000 in funds for anything we raise to help our album. They'll match it towards the General Musicians Relief Fund that's been started by Arts Beats Needs. So we're currently doing a fundraiser, which again I was very trepidatious and reluctant to do. I wasn't for it, but then I said, well, you know what? If we're gonna do it, if we were ever gonna do it, now is the bloody time, and also we'll be double dipping and helping people who are in need as well. So every $10 we raise, it's $10 more. We get the $10, but then Oakland County says, well, here's $10 for musicians in need as well. And we're almost at $3,000 right now, so I'm putting the bar high. I'm like 300,000. It'll never happen, but
Hey,
don't say never. It might happen.
Exactly.
And we'll obviously, if there's like a link or anything like that we can help out, we'll post it on our Facebook.
Yep, it's all on our website. It's all on our website, StoneCloverDetroit.com.
That's
Perfect.
the whole
We'll
point of
route them
having
that
you
way.
on too, is that this is time sensitive, right? Do we have to have the funds raised by a certain time?
The matching time period is currently, I think the cutoff is like October 2nd. So we've got pretty much the month of September to raise as much as we can. And there's all the other bands locally are doing it. I think we're currently like the largest contributor to this so far. And if 200 bands can each raise $2,500, we'll get $500,000 and we'll get that raised into the fund and then matched into the fund. But it's not been easy and a lot of the other bands are having a lot of difficulty doing it. And so I'm doubling down, and I said I will shamelessly do this. I'll put my pride down. I never go out asking for people for stuff, and I'm usually helping other people get gigs and do that stuff, you know.
Exactly, and that's the whole point. Is Paulie, you're one of the most giving, kindest people I've ever met in my life, and you're always giving to other people. When it's your time of need, that's when all of that stuff is supposed to come back to you. And I know everybody's hurting right now, right? People are on unemployment for months. People are out of jobs. People are worried about what's going to happen. The point is, if arts is important to you, if music is important to you, $10, man, it's really not a whole lot. Like everybody can find, you can scrape together $10 out of like bottle returns and change that you've got around the house, right? Everybody can come up with $10. Now, the other thing is a lot of you people out there know local bands, right? So tell your local bands to get in on this too. If the bands go out there and say, hey man, like in lieu of, you'd go to a bar and see your buddy's band play and spend more than $10 on that, wouldn't you? Throw $10 to this general fund. It's going to get matched. And then we're going to raise a whole bunch of money. I think it's a fantastic idea. And that's why we're having you on this week, man. Like time is running short. We need to like hop on it.
Yeah. We have links to both our fundraiser, which will be matched. And but if you're like, man, screw this guy and his band and his music, we also, hey, you never know, whatever. I mean, I think it's okay. I'm in it, and I just think it's okay. Some people are like, this is great. I'm like, I got them fooled. Other people are like, ah. But so on our website, though, we have a link directly to our fundraiser, which will match. But we also have a link directly to the Artist Relief Fund, which anything that goes there will be matched. So if you're like, I like the cause, but this guy's a jerk, so you can donate directly to that. And we've got them both on our website. So either way, we really just want to help the whole music community because now's the time. There's matching money to be had, so we have to do it now.
That's what it's all about, man. I love it. I think it's a great idea, and I think all of our listeners are going to get on board with this. Tell your friends about it. Spread the word far and wide. I know tons of local musicians. My brother's a musician. I grew up hanging around in band practice joints and, like lofts and basements. And, how many times have you seen an awesome show in somebody's basement? Like a lot growing up. That's what we did, So it's like, support it. You say you support local music, prove it. Put $10 where your mouth is, and we'll get you guys some much needed relief funds.
Yeah, and we're using the money we raise, the stuff that actually goes to our direct fundraiser. It's not, while we're all musicians in the band, we all make all of our money from music. It's not a hobby for any of us. We all are full-time musicians. We're taking all of the money that we raise and putting it directly into the studio. We're cutting a giant concept album, but I'm not able to do it all at once because it's just gotten too big. But we're using the money to help with production costs, and we hope to have the first EP out by St. Patrick's Day is my goal. But we'll see. I might have a label that wants me to wait a minute, so we'll see what happens.
Hopefully we get to have St. Patrick's Day this year.
At this point, I totally want to say that too, but I'm kind of feeling like I should just plan for a letdown. I've already been hurt once. I should just
right.
No.
Well, I think at the very least we'll be prepared to do some sort of more virtual one, which will not be the same. But you look at what sports are doing. You look at what drive-in concerts are doing and stuff like that. They'll try and figure out something to where it'll be a celebration. But everybody knows that St. Patrick's Day is about going out, going to a bar, watching some live music, drinking your green beer, having your whiskey, and having your fun. Yeah.
Oh,
look at that.
You have helpers. Oh my God, so fancy.
Life is good.
I wish that would happen to me. I just got my box of wine next to me.
You're prepared though.
I just poured myself a really big glass of whiskey, so hopefully it'll last me an hour.
It takes an entire box for me to get through a podcast, apparently. So
it usually takes a couple pints for me and Remy to hang out for at least an hour.
That's true. Yep. Nothing like a couple of pints amongst friends. So this new giant concept album, can you tell us anything about it?
Oh, can I ever, friend? I'm calling it. So it started out as I just had this EP going. We were on schedule as the new year was coming. St. Patrick's Day was coming. We were gonna make a couple. That's our Super Bowl. We were gonna make the big money and hit the studio and cut this EP so we could get some new music to get a new booking agent. And we've done the Warped Tour we did a week or so on the Warped Tour, made it out to Boston, and we were ripping and we got some people talking to us, and they're like, well, we need new product. We need new product. You got to show us, because the old stuff's got a little bit of the drinky feel to it, which we'll always have. But we're like, we need something new to show what you guys are doing, what you're doing. Because we've done some bigger shows, and they're like, wow, what the hell was that? I'm like, I don't have it recorded yet. So they're like, get a record. I'm like, okay, I'll cut a quick EP. But then COVID hit, and all of a sudden, like, even the studio was like, fuck, we're shut down. So I was like, well, I guess I'll sit at home with, I'm just like crying in my beer all by myself. And while that was happening, I'm realizing that I had the EP ready, and I had another one almost ready. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Well, what about these songs and this song and this song? And I'm like, wait a minute. If I move them like this, I already knew there was going to be a story involved in it somehow, but now it's turned into this giant story. And I'm even looking at our last album, and I'm like, well, that song fits in. Like, even the last album's a precursor to this. Like, all of it's in there. So it's going to be this giant thing. I'm calling it Death to the Life of Riley. And I'm going to release it in 4 different EPs because, 1, it's expensive to do this kind of work.
Yeah.
2, I can cut a few videos, hopefully, and spend a few bucks on that as I go. But it's all going to tie to a larger story. But as I release the EPs, I'm going to mix it up, too. So no one knows what the heck is going on. Until the very end, when I've got all the EPs out, then I'll mix it all together into a giant album with way more songs and interludes to tie it all together and show the proper format. And then I'll be like, haha, mystery solved.
But I love it. It's a great idea because it's like stepping stones. You don't have the financial backing to go out there and make a cool, like, double album kind of, put it all together, all packaged and stuff like that. No, but it's a progression. And if you start getting the EPs and then you tie it all together, I think it's a brilliant idea. And, we sat down last week and we were chatting to me about it and stuff. I'm like, oh, this sounds awesome. I've actually heard a couple of the songs off of it. And I'm telling you folks, it's really, really good stuff.
I'm really excited.
Yeah, you should.
Not gonna lie, I'm like a Stone Clover fan, so I used to like sit during Renaissance Festival in one spot all day and wait.
Oh, then you saw it start.
Oh yes.
Yeah, this band.
I would always wait and just be like, Stone Clover's coming out at some point. Like, just sit there and wait.
Yeah, we
the best songs. You guys have such a good energy. And like, exactly, like everyone's always enjoying it, and it's always like super fun to watch you guys like drinking, playing, having a good time. So I'm a little closet fan, not even a closet fan, but I'm kind of fangirling over here.
Well, I'll have to share some tunes with you too. We're in pre-production, so a lot of it's not, like I was telling he's got family in music, so he knows. I'm like, oh, this isn't quite mixed or mastered yet. The vocals are real low. We're looking at the violin on this one,
Sure.
Beware. The bass is turned up real high. We're working on the bass line on this one at the time. So it's I've got some roughies, but nothing
I
else
would love to hear them.
Cool.
Honestly, that'd be great.
Yeah, but you saw us grow up. Like when I started this band at the Renaissance Festival, it was just I was just there to have a good time and, hoot and holler. And then all of a sudden it just kind of turned into its own thing and people started trying to book us. And I was like, oh, okay. Here we are 10 years later. And I'm like, well, yeah, I'll open for fucking Cheap Trick. What? Who are you doing? What's up?
So my friend Matt said, or our friend Matt said, I too was forced enjoyably to wait and watch Stone Clover perform every weekend at Ren Fair. So got lots of people that love you guys. So
yeah, I probably know who that Matt is, I bet.
Yeah.
No, honestly,
I assume.
I've never heard anybody be like, Stone Clover, yeah, whatever, dude. Like, not my thing. Yeah, never. It's always good stuff. Right. Well, I mean, we're always our own worst critics, aren't we, as artists? Like, I don't listen to my podcasts after I do them. I can't. I'm like, I sound like a nerd. Like, sound like such a dork. I probably sound like a dork tonight. Whatever. Hopefully you're still tuning. But no, that's the point. You're going to be your own tough critic, but really, everybody really does love you, Polly, and the stuff that you do. And not just you, your bandmates too, because, it's not a one-man show out there. You've got talented musicians around you. I know the lineup has changed a little bit throughout the years. You're going to have some flux and stuff like that. But you're not going to let somebody join the band Stone Clover without some chops. You're definitely going to be good quality musicians and stuff. So I really hope that this helps get the word out for you, and we can get a lot more money in you guys' pockets, so we can get these EPs out there, see your dream come true. And also, just like Oakland County, thank you so much for agreeing to match these funds. That's pretty amazing. $500,000. If we can get close to that, that's pretty big stuff. We can make an impact in people's lives. Like you want to help out on a community level. You want to help some people in real need and stuff, because just like bartending, the entire music industry has been decimated completely. You know, you can't go out to bars, you can't see live music anymore, and there's people who have based their whole livelihood on this, and so they're kind of, you know, sitting around with like, oh well, unemployment's running out, and the $1,200 is spent a long time ago, and you know, like we got to look out for our fellow friends, and supporting the arts is one of the main things for me. That's where my heart lies.
I'm right there with you, bud. Yeah, that's why once Oakland County did it, we were I got asked to be on a meeting with Oakland County. We were on Channel 4 a couple times because of it too, where they're highlighting this, because it's amazing what Dave Couture, the executive, the fact that he put his people into this. Because when COVID hit, I met the gentleman once or twice at some press conferences, and he said, "Hey, if you ever need anything," I'm like, "Well, if you never need anything from an Irish band," and we played the card game. He's like, "Oh, he used to be the mayor of Ferndale."
Yeah.
And so he saw us perform at a lot of the Ferndale festivals, like DIY and Pig and Whiskey, which those guys are great too, working with those guys, but that's all gone this year. Yep. He's like, "Oh, I love you guys." I'm like, "Well, if you ever need an Irish band for whatever, hit me up." And he's like, "Well, if you ever need a county executive for whatever, hit me up." And I'm like, "All right, well, when COVID hit and all the funds were coming out, I was like, well, I guess I'm going to write that email." I was like, "Hey, we're a business. We're looking to get in." And not for nothing, it was heard. And this has now come back. I'm sure a lot of other musicians probably sent Oakland County some stuff, saying stuff. And I know that John Witz and Jamie Wilkins from Arts Beats and Eats have been huge proponents for the local musicians. Normally they do all this and they create the Arts Beats and Eats Festival. This year they're literally focusing on keeping the arts, the beats, and keeping all of us who create their festival alive. Yeah. They changed their entire format to try and help us, which is, it's insane. And the amount of work they're putting into it, I can't tell you how many times I've sat with Jamie and talked and trying to figure this stuff out too. And it's just amazing what she's doing. And John as well, his reach is so far. I'm grateful just to be able to talk about it,
Yeah, kudos to them. And again, that's the kind of people that you need during times of stress and crazy uncertainty. Is like, okay, you guys organize festivals, you put all this stuff together, you put all these people together, you're good organizers. Like, let's figure out a way to help these musicians out. So it sounds like they've got the right people in the right job over there. And that's another thing. A lot of people are real quick to slam politicians these days, but politicians on the local scale are really doing some amazing things trying to help people out. Like, they care about their community. They're getting into it for the right reasons. And so make sure you exercise your right to vote and look up in your local stuff, like who's really doing what and helping out their fellow constituents. You know what I mean?
Right. Sorry, I'm looking at a rabbit right now.
It's better than me talking about politics anyways.
Yeah. I want to look at a rabbit.
I want to look at a rabbit.
We have a couple rabbits. I'm sorry, I'm like looking over there. We have a couple rabbits, and one of them's a dick.
That sucks.
Yeah, well, she's
I
cool.
hate when one of my animals is a dick.
Yeah, she's laying down now. She's cool. She's over there talking to her little buddy.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm dying to hear some stories about people being like totally fucked up at one of your shows, or you guys being fucked up at one of your shows, or something. I've just been waiting, like trying not to like push it, because I know that we've got important stuff to talk about, but also like I want some stories.
In fact, I was thinking, I was like, okay, well, Remy and I have known each other probably 15 years. I've got a ton of downtown stories, which are probably tied to the time frame Remy and I were running together.
Oh yeah.
Back they getting into trouble down in the old, drinking at the well and I mean
trouble?
I mean responsibly handling our alcohol like adults and never having any hangovers or issues of the sort. You buy this shit?
The maniacal laughter in the background is definitely an indicator of what kind of stories are going to be coming.
Yeah, I could tell stories. I mean, I should almost have a wheel like Ren Fair, Old Shillelagh, Late Night, Oddball, the oddity story I've got saved up.
I am curious to hear some Ren Fair stories, because I have seen some people be very, very drunk there.
I'm gonna vote for a Ren Fair story to start us off. Yeah,
that's like my people. I love Ren Fair.
All right, so you want me to start there then? We're getting into it?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, I used to go to the Renaissance Festival for many, many moons, just as a kid and a patron and a bit of a drunk, if you will. And then I got into playing music there somehow. I don't know what bet I lost to get that job, but so it turned out I started working there, and well, you're not supposed to drink while you're working. And I don't really, I mean, I like to drink while I play music, but I don't like performing drunk. There's a big difference between having a couple pints and really, you know, feeling it and enjoying yourself and being like, oh, shit, what the fuck have I done to myself? Which has happened once or twice. So I made friends with as many different booth owners as I could when I first started playing there, because they don't give, with the place we were playing, we didn't have like our own backstage area. We didn't get to like go, oh, behind the scenes. Nope, you're just out in the middle of nowhere. And they're like, all right, next set's in an hour and a half. I'm like, well, now what the fuck do I do with myself? So I made a lot of friends with the boothies. We call them boothies. And I would hide beers at every booth. And so I could wander around the festival. And no matter where I was at, I could always catch a beer. Or someone kind enough would be like, Paulie, you look like you need a drink. I'm like, why, thank you, I do.
I sure do.
Yep. And I made a lot of friends with a lot of the boothies around our performance area because of that. Well, then we were just having fun. I can remember the one booth across the way was like, hey, you know, our first set, they're like, that's too loud, we can't hear our customers. And I was like, well, what if I move the speaker to the other side of the stage? And they were like, what? You're gonna try and do something nice to make this better? I'm like, yeah. I go, I'll move the speaker over there and just let me know if it's too loud. We'll do it again. I go, the whole goal is to get people to stand around and drink and then buy your stuff, you know? So we're on the same page. And they're like, what? After that, best friends forever. They ended up becoming a part of the show. Like there was a part where I'd stop with the song One More Beer and they'd go, boom, and smash the cymbal. And it was just because the whole part of the Renaissance Festival, for us at least, was just to have fun, enjoy ourselves, and share the good time with the patrons who just happened to walk by. They were the show to us. We were just having our own fun together, you know?
That's what it's supposed to be about, the camaraderie and not like, oh, whatever, man. Like, I'm a big rock star and you're not going to tell me to turn it down or whatever. Like, no, that's not what Paulie's all about. It's not what Stone Clover's all about. It's like, oh my God, that's too loud. It's disrupting your business. We'll move this. Yeah, we'll fix it up. Let's
We're not trying to stop people from coming to your business. We want people to hang out around here, and in turn, they stand and look at your stuff. You know, you're helping us. We're helping you.
And the next day, one of the guys at the other businesses that was across from where the speaker was pointing was like, hey, man, I'm standing on stage. When we do our sound check, I can't do it while we're playing. He's like, hey, I'm a sound engineer in my past life, he would say. It's Graham, giant fucking handsome man. I'm a beautiful, just giant, huge dude with this big beard. And he's like, hey, and he comes over and I'm like, uh-oh, what have I done?
Yeah, right.
He's just the kindest, most gentle, beautiful human being ever. He's like, you know, I was a sound engineer in one of my past lives. He's like, you know, mind if I tweak your mids or your highs a bit in this? I'm like, go to it, bro. And so we're playing, and he's over there going dee and dialing it in for us too. I'm like, well, all right. I go, because he's like, you know, we're having a bit of a hard time hearing you guys, and sometimes our customers are like, hey, whatever works, man. And so yeah, the Ren Fair is really just a beautiful place for camaraderie. I mean, there's probably a ton of weird stories I could tell about falling down drunk at the end of fair. And end of the nights when I get drunk, yeah.
Yeah. You've been holding it together all day so you can play. Yeah. Yep. And then it's like, nah, it's time to let loose.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, too, is so the way I got into it kind of, too, is the Ren Fair would have unmarked security. Like, they would dress up like regular patrons. They look like Ren Fair patrons, and they'd all have a certain hat. I mean, and we all knew who they were. But that way the whole fair could have an idea what was going on. They had the radios, but never feel like, because there were sheriffs marching around, you know, but you'd always, if somebody like got sick or something, they had 3 security guards there that no one would ever know were there. They'd just kind of come out of the mix and be like, yo, well, we used to camp right down the road from the Renaissance Festival with all of them at the KOA. And so after the Ren Fair at the security guards campground is where the real stories happen. and actually there's another group of people who do a pig roast every year. One of the booths right across from where we play, Castle Dennison was the name of the booth. They do a bunch of beautiful embroidery work, and they'd let us sit behind their booth and hang out. They'd feed us and all this. There's beautiful people, Deb and her team, and Bob. But we would go to their pig roast about 20 minutes north, and they had this huge property, and they would let all these Rennies set up tents for the whole 2-3 weeks of 2 months of Ren Fair, and they had paths with rope lights and some portage on, so it was like a tent community. Still is, not this year, obviously. And then they had this pavilion they built where we would sit and play music around like this big pavilion. We'd play music while everybody's drinking and eating. It was like a second night Ren festival. And they have a pig roast. But one of the most infamous nights ever, I brought a couple kegs to this pig roast, and we're sitting there drinking and whatnot, and everybody's fizzling out. And I've got a bit of a reputation for being a trooper, if you will. I don't know where I get that. You know, kind of a hardcore guy. Well, Bob, the owner, the homer, and his wife Deb's probably called it, but Bob, he is a giant. He looks like a tree trunk, grew legs, and walks through the forest. You know, and he's got a giant red beard, and he's one of my best mates. And he's like, so, Paulie, what's up? I'm like, I don't know what you're doing, Bob. He's like, we're drinking, and he puts a fifth of fucking whiskey down in front of me. And I'm like, shirts off. And I'm like, we're going to rage. And so we rip our shirts off. And Bob and I sat there and drank. Now, mind you, we've been drinking all day and all night already. We almost polished off this entire fifth of fucking whiskey. And I don't really remember much after that. Except for, but the next day was a fair day, so I had to get back to fair and play music. Like, that was Saturday, and I still had to go perform Sunday. The next thing I know, and I know this because some of my tent neighbors heard this go down, and they've told me since they laughed their asses off. Danielle's kicking me, my wife. She's like, Paulie, wake up, we gotta go. You know, wake up. And I'm like, I don't remember going to bed or getting into the tent at all. But they tell me that when I laid down in the tent, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm putting myself over here. Yeah. Well, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, where are my pants? And she's like, what do you mean, where are your pants? I'm like, my wallet's here, my phone's here. Like, I set everything down, but I'm not wearing my pants. Where are my pants? Like, I had to have had my pants on to come to bed and set my stuff down because it was all in my pants. It's all here in a pile, but my pants are gone. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't know where the fuck. So I'm walking around the campground in my underwear looking at it. Like, anybody seen my pants? To this day, they've not shown up. Like, everybody still has no idea. Like, I think a raccoon's out there wearing them. Like, like, nobody knows what fuck happened to Paulie's pants that night. And the funny thing is that I'd already written the song One More Beer, where I say I woke up with no pants on and a tattoo on my chest. I really woke up with no pants on and had no idea what they went. Like, we still haven't found my pants to that day.
No tattoo? No tattoo?
No, just, I got them on my wrist.
Oh, perfect.
No, I'm gonna wake up with one on my chest soon. That'll be another story.
I remember one year, so obviously being bartenders and stuff, like, we work every St. Patrick's Day.
Oh,
and
yes.
I called in, I got the black lung paw, to see you guys play at the Colada in, I think that's like Northville or Livonia. Maybe
There was one in Livonia. Did we ever play that one? It all went together for me.
Yeah, this was years ago, years
If
and
you
years
say
ago.
it happened, I'll believe it.
I'm positive. I like called in sick, like, to go see Stone Clover. And I got in trouble because somebody posted on, I think it might have been Facebook or something, a picture of me. And I was like, no, I really was sick. I just went anyway.
I was too sick to work, but not too sick to drink and see my favorite band.
Oh my God.
I can't wait to show you guys the new music though too. Like, I was sharing a lot of it with Remy the other day. We're gonna have the classic drinking tunes, a couple of them, but we're going into I'm really expanding the sound. It's gonna touch it all.
In a good way.
I'm excited to hear it.
It's amazing. Like, yeah, it's so good. You're weeping because it's like the teenage drinking band has grown up and writing songs about adulthood, you know? Like,
Well, I can write drinking songs, but I don't want to write 20 of them in a row, and I don't think anybody wants to hear 20 in a row. I gotta have some depth and some movement.
that's exactly right. And, you know, hey, the drinking songs are fun. They're great. They serve their purpose and stuff. But, like, you know, show off your true music. Yeah, like, we don't love a good drinking song. Of course we do. But
I'm like drinking the like least amazing thing to drink while listening to drinking songs.
There's no judgment here.
There's no judgment at all. The point is that you don't want to be a one-trick pony, right? You don't want to be known. You don't want to be known as just the drinking song band. You know, like, oh, there's that Irish band. They sing a bunch of drinking songs. Great. Like no, they've got depth. They've got heart. They've got talent. They've got stories to tell. They've got. We have
been pigeonholed like that before.
For sure, of course.
It was tough to get on the Warped Tour. When we got the Warped Tour to take us, you know, we were on the Ernie Ball stage, which I'm not complaining in the least bit. It was amazing. I had a blast. It was wonderful. But for guys like us, that's where they start. You're like, actually was a step or two up from the lowest stage, which I thought we were getting the lowest stage. We're like, oh, okay. All right, I'll do that. I'm so happy to be here is what I always say, you know. And, you know, but they gave us a step or two up. But when we got there, they're like, oh, an Irishman, what the fuck are they thinking? But sure as shit, that stage has got bands playing all day, and there's people coming and going. But every fucking time we hit, hundreds of people would swarm in. And they're like, what the fuck are these assholes wearing green pants for? But it was rock and fucking roll, and they could tell we fell out. I always say, they're like, what do you sound like? I'm like, well, we sound like, you know, there's drinking songs, but we sound like we're a bunch of rock and roll kids who fell out of an Irish pub. You know, you can hear these instruments, and you're like, what the fuck is a violin and a mandolin doing? And then we're like, ga 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 ga. And like, what the fuck is that shit? So the sound has grown a lot, and I'm so excited to share it with you.
Yeah, we can't wait.
Coming soon.
It's awesome.
I
Well,
also
and again, hey,
remember-
let's this is a perfect time to like throw that out there. Go to stoneclover.com. They've got all the details on there for where you can donate to just yours or to the general fund. Like you can
Either
go
way, it's matched though. If you do us or you do the fund,
exactly.
Either way, it's double your money.
$10. That's all we're asking. You'd spend like t-shirts cost more than $10. A new CD costs more than $10. Like your subscription to Apple Music costs $10 a month. Throw $10 this way. I promise you it's for a good cause and you won't be disappointed.
I have so many CDs and t-shirts right now in my fucking basement because we were about to do St. Patrick's Day and the summer tour. So
I was about to say, you probably had a whole bunch of inventory that you had ordered just for that day.
You do that in January. Like we take November, December, and January off because I want to have Thanksgiving with the family. I want to have my Christmas, and then St. Patrick's Day though that is our Christmas, and my family all gets together for the Irish pub. But I got to get my shit in order. So January, I put every bit of money we had into CDs and T-shirts, and I'm like, yeah. And normally that's a good investment because you're like, all right, we're playing the shows, and that money turns into more money, and we were going to spend that in the studio. Well, not this year. I got these great coasters, you guys. They say Stone Clover, and take out the center and put it in a CD player. It makes noise too, but I got these $10 coasters if anybody's interested.
Well, so that's
you guys
another
can
thing.
Get coasters. You can
Oh, yeah, the website's got merch too. If you want to order
shirt.
some merch, yeah, I'll mail it to you. I won't lick the envelope.
I tell you what, I'll be your first order. So you and me and Lauren are gonna hang out sometime soon. Since she's a big fangirl, and I didn't know this about her, but I do now.
Yard beers.
Yes, Yard Beers, and I'm gonna buy a T-shirt from you because I don't have a Stone Clover T-shirt. Now,
I will also buy a T-shirt from
I
you.
insist on.
Well, you got to come over and you can pick
insist.
from the varieties. I've got
Perfect.
That's what I'm saying. Perfect.
I
Yes,
will
come
do
over and
that.
pick.
I would love to pick a shirt.
Yeah, we'll put a little of that cheddar back
And
in your
maybe
pocket
some
for the
coasters.
stuff that you missed out on.
I do
and
like
stuff
coasters.
Well,
Yeah.
you guys are too kind. I appreciate the hell out of you.
Well, we appreciate you, man. And it's like, you know, this is important to me. This is important to us. Like, without local musicians and local bands like putting on shows and stuff, the world is a much more dull and boring place. It's not the kind of world that I want to live in. So like, we need to keep you guys afloat. We need to keep you guys supported any way we can. We're all going to get through this shit together. It sucks.
Fuck yeah.
It sucks for everybody. But dude, your attitude about the whole thing is your positive spin on it. Like, I can't commend you enough for that. You know, instead of like moping about like, oh my God, you know, I spent all this money on merchandise and stuff and my big plan fell apart. What did you do? You were like, well, let me figure out how I can like pull all these songs together and work on like a big, amazing project. Like, you've used this time wisely, sir.
The story's gotten bigger since Thursday too.
Right? Yeah, that's the
I'm
way
writing
it
a
goes. You
novel.
get that creative spark. And honestly, you know, if you were saying to me, it's like, if COVID wouldn't have hit, you would have been busy touring and stuff like that. This big idea would not have come to fruition. Maybe
It
not
would all
until
just
another
drift
time.
away.
But so you took a bad situation, you made the most of it. And that's just we applaud you for that, sir.
Well, I have to say, I am the luckiest man alive, is what I often say. I got decent health, you know, I've got a loving family, and I have a ton of beautiful, talented people around me who see that my heart and soul are wrapped up in this, and they support me. And I mean, I always say Stone Clover's really just, well, my one joke is we're a drinking group with a bit of a music problem, is the way I describe it. That's my favorite. But without the fans, this would have never, I honestly did not start this band thinking it would be anything more than just a bit of a good time here and there. Yeah. And the fans kind of took it and turned it like we did the Ren Fair one year. Next thing you know, I'm playing weddings. I'm like, okay, I'll play your wedding. You know, next thing we're doing the Ren Fair again. And then all of a sudden bars are calling us. And I'm like, you know what? So I start trying to get into rock and roll clubs. The next thing you know, we're opening up for acts. And it's like, we're playing biker clubs, and I'm like, the kids are like, we're doing that. I'm like, and there's a bunch of metal bands playing. I'm like, just turn it up, throw it at the wall, and hope it sticks, guys. Sure as shit.
Right.
And it does. And everybody's like, well, this is working. I'm like, all right, let's fucking keep going with it. So I'm just one of the, I think I'm the luckiest man alive is what I often, I'm going to write a song called that, which is a different story. Not for this album, but I'm writing a song called The Luckiest Man Alive about a guy who like wakes up late for work and like his car is broken. I don't know if he's gonna have a car, but he doesn't make it to work. He gets to work and he gets fired for being late. And they're like, fuck, you know, and then something else happens, this happens. He finally just makes it to the bar. He's like, fuck this, I'm going for a drink. And he gets to the bar and everybody's like, oh my God, you're alive. And he's like, what do you mean I'm alive? He's like, they're like, well, you didn't hear there was a huge accident right on your path to work. And he's like, wow, if I'd have been on time, I'd have been in that accident. And your work burned down and everybody died. You know, and the whole time he keeps going,
just like all this shit.
Yeah, he just thinks it's the worst thing happening to him. He's like, man, I'm the luckiest man alive. Fuck me for my luck. But then he gets to the pub and everybody's like, oh yeah. And he's like, holy shit, I'm the luckiest man alive because I would have died because of all these stupid things. So that's
Brilliant.
another day.
Brilliant. I love it,
couple
Polly. I love the way your mind works. You got a million great ideas.
I have a couple of friends who are pretty big Stone Clover fans, and they have most definitely been saying hello on our live feed, just so you know, everyone commenting in, saying that they want stuff. But I remember also that you guys were playing over at the Pig and Whiskey.
Yeah, we do that one.
Yep, and I think also the DIY possibly.
Yep, we do that one too.
And I used to work directly across the street at the Grasshopper, and I would go running upstairs and stand outside and listen, because you guys always went on when I was at work, and I would go running upstairs and me and my friends would dance around outside and sing along, and then we'd go running back downstairs and finish working. So just so you're aware, there's people that love you and seriously like want to see you guys succeed. And if I can help out with that, if Remy and I can help out with that and get you guys some donations and stuff, we would love to do that.
Thank you so much, bro. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for just, you know, sharing your talents with the world. That's what it's all about. I love the fact that you started off as just kind of like, whatever, just, you know, like, like I remember when, you know, Billy would play over at the Shillelagh, and then you would come on and you were I wouldn't say like he's protege or anything like that, but like you'd come on and do like a bit of a set. Yeah, something like that.
Dude, Billy Dixon, Terry Murphy, Jerry Poirier, Gerard Smith,
those guys,
Michael Bryan, all these guys I watched growing up. But Billy's probably the one who probably taught me the most about how to handle a crowd. Yeah. And you know, he carries a song like nobody else. And that's something I learned from him as to how to possess a tune from Billy Dixon. But working a crowd, I really learned a lot. I mean, I've always kind of been a wise ass and a bit of a people person, but watching Billy kill the quips, when we were young, his son and I used to open up for his band upstairs. His son Ethan and I were the opening act. And we would essentially use a lot of the same jokes. And he used to always joke. He's like, you kids stealing my jokes. And I'm like, yeah, but we're telling them better, you know, or whatever. But from having done that, like any of those musicians I mentioned, I could go, hey man, what is that song? I want to learn that song. How are you playing it? They would literally grab a guitar and sit in front of me like this. Like Terry Murphy was a left-handy. So I could sit the right-hand guitar, he could be left, and we could literally mirror each other. He'd be like, check it out. He taught me my country F, like the F chord I still play to this day. I never would have played that if Terry Murphy hadn't said, try it like this, boy. And sure as shit, I do. And now I've had musicians over the years. I try to help other musicians. Like as we've gotten, I don't want to say too big, but we've gotten bigger offers to do other things. I still get a lot of offers to do other things. And instead of just say, no, fuck, you know, no, I'm busy. I go, oh, hold on a minute. Let me call a friend and I'll call some other band. Try to get the other bands booked in these other spots. And they're like, wow. And they ask me, you want to cut? I'm like, you buy me a beer next time I see you, you know? But the same thing is you have to teach the next, now that I guess I'm getting old. Am I getting long in the beard? Yeah.
Are we getting old? I don't feel old.
I don't feel old. I don't remember getting old. But now I've got people asking me, how do you play that song? Or what's that tune? And I'm like, oh, sit right the fuck up. I'll write it all down and hand it to you, you know? This community we have, especially in the Irish music community, I think it's about the tradition of continuing it and keeping it going. Even though sometimes I get crap because I kind of do it my own way and mess it all up. But I'm like, well, I can do it the way everybody does it. I can do that, no problem. But I don't want it, so I'm gonna fuck it all up.
Yeah, that's the whole point for you to do your own thing, you know. Yeah.
But I wouldn't be here without the guys who taught me and led the way for me, you know. That's and I'm so grateful for that. Yeah, Billy distributed every album.
Shout out to the old gents that passed the torch down to you, man.
Cheers to them.
So, my good friend Megan, and I know that she used to work at Ren Fair and everything too. She said her favorite memory is pajama parties to watch Walking Dead. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh my God! Wait, Megs is on here?
Yeah.
So I used to have in this very room we're in. Like this is my living room. Back when Walking Dead was new, I'd read all the comic books before it was a TV thing, and not all of them, but a lot of them. And so when it started, I used to have bad movie night at my house on Sundays. And then The Walking Dead came out on Sundays. So I started having Walking Dead night. And I would invite 10 or 15 people over and I'd cook a big dinner and we'd all sit around and eat. And we'd sit around in our pajamas and watch The Walking Dead. And I also used to have, Megs will remember, the pajama jam, I called it, where everybody came over and I'd get rid of all the furniture in my living room except the couches and the back walls. And I told you can't come unless you're in pajamas. And you bring a couple big fluffy blankets and a bunch of pillows. And I would just cover the whole living room in blankets and pillows. And I'd pick 4 or 5 movies. Like the last one we did, I think it was Legend, The Dark Crystal, nice. Labyrinth, and The Never-Ending Story. You know, and we just sit around and eat and drink and the pajama jams. Oh, I need to bring back the pajama jam.
She said, I love you, Polly.
I love her too.
Oh my God, I've got a great story. So, God, what was that? Maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, Paulie just reaches out to me. He's like, hey man, you want to come play like this cool zombie Nerf gun war game? And I was like, yeah.
Sure. Sounds good.
I was like, are you kidding me? This sounds amazing. And so I show up at this house, I get directions, Paulie sends me over there, and they've got like 50 different Nerf guns and all the little Nerf bullets for it. And there's like big ones and little ones and cool ones and like this magic sword. And so one group was the zombies and one group was the heroes, and like the zombies could touch you and you'd turn into a zombie. And oh God, dude, it was turned off all the lights and it was like a battle royale with like 20 people in this house trying to not become a zombie. I did not win. I got turned into a zombie a couple of different times.
That is so
but oh my
funny.
God, that was so much fun, dude.
I actually won one round at that too. I never thought I would.
Yeah.
I wound up surviving one, yeah. But that was a 3-story house at one of my best mates' places. I forgot about that. That was an amazing night.
So good. And just you know, that's the kind of friend you are. Is like there's always something creative going on around you, always some like fantastic adventure or cool thing that's happening and stuff like that. And so like when Paulie like reaches out, is like, hey man, what are you doing tonight? You want to come play zombie Nerf gun? You're like, yeah, I do. I most definitely do.
I'm
like,
glad you didn't just say, how the fuck old are you, Paulie? You were like, oh hell yeah.
I was all about it.
I knew you though. You were like, I don't know what we did. We might have yapped or something in the week. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hit up fucking Remy. I bet he'd love this shit.
I sure did.
And sure as shit, Remy showed up. You were there before I even got there, I think. You'd already made friends.
Yeah. Well, you know, I was like, hey,
he walks up. He doesn't know anybody in the room, but by the time I get there, he's like, hey, Paulie, thanks for showing up. Me and my friends here are talking about having a game.
I'm a bartender. It's my job to make friends with people. So, you know,
good
that
people,
comes naturally. Yeah.
You're just good people. That's what, and it worked. And that was, I forgot all about that. That was a hell of a night. The health vials were vodka, too.
Yes.
Health vials were vodka.
Yeah, they were mixed. Oh, we had an elaborate plan.
Story of my life.
It really was set up fantastically. Like there was rules to it. There was, you know, they broke it all down for you, but like that's what made it so good, is like it was well planned and well thought out. It was like, this is actually awesome.
Drunken zombie survival Nerf guns.
Yeah. And as soon as you invited me and told me what it was, I knew it would be. I was like, oh, this sounds really good. Like I definitely can't miss this.
I forgot about that. I'm glad I invited you to that.
Who can say no to that? I mean, I don't even know you, and if you sent me that, I'd be like, all right, I'm on my way.
Yeah.
Like that sounds fun.
Doing it.
Yeah, I'm a lucky guy, man. I get lucky and I get to have weird adventures, and I just try to include everybody to have fun with me.
You know what, though? I feel like that's like something that people should just do in general. Be like, you know, I came up with this wacky idea. Let's make it work, you know, and go all out. I love when people like choose like a theme to a party and they're like, let me make trophies. Let me make, you know, like games up and all this stuff. Like, it doesn't have to be just like, come and drink with me. It can be something fun and interactive.
Oh, man. I need to do that. I need a bigger house myself. That was a 3-story house we did that in. We need to do that
Yeah,
again.
oh yeah. The basement was sketchy. It was weird to go like because
It
you
was
get caught in the
dark and
stairway in the basement. Like both the stairways were tough to navigate. You're like, oh god, I got shot. Like, oh.
So I'm curious, have you ever had someone like during one of your sets, especially like during like, you know, St. Patrick's Day and stuff like that, people get fucking wasted. Have you ever had to like deal with somebody like jumping on stage or you've had to like kick them out?
Would you like me to go back or would you like the most recent one? Because I got a good.
I want both. Why not both?
Okay, the most recent one this year, and I still have these suspenders. The guy messaged me and said, "You want the charger?" So St. Patty's Day weekend this year, before it all got canceled, we're at the Lager House, and I got this drunk guy. Now, mind you, he wasn't rude or anything, but he was just persistent, we'll say. And the Lager House stage is only a couple feet off the ground. It's not like you're like looking down on the yeah. The layer of separation isn't immense, which I don't mind. I love it. I love being that close. Sometimes, other times you're like projectile vomit that way. But this guy's adamant. He keeps coming in. And I've got a couple new members and a new a lovely young woman playing fiddle, and he's like, "You guys are great." And I'm like, "Thanks, mate." And I'll just jump in and interject because I'm the loud, obnoxious guy. And he's like, "Take off your clothes." And he says this quite a few times to the point where I'm like, "Give me your suspenders and I'll take off your clothes." And he's like, "What?" And next thing I know, I'm wearing light up suspenders, like electric, like this color light, in my underwear, in my boxers, playing a Green Day song at the end of the day on parade day. Because the other guys were like, "I don't know how to deal with this drunken heckler." I'm like, "I'll show you how to do it." I threw my pants at him. I was like, "This is how it's done." But I've had some really drunk arseholes in the past. But if you can't handle a heckler, you shouldn't be playing in an Irish drinking band. You gotta be able to turn it around on them. Sometimes they're jerks, and you gotta be able to make them think that they're your best friend at the end of it. After calling them, I can tell someone to go fuck themselves sideways on Sunday to where they'll leave happily to go pack for the trip. They're like, "Oh, I love that guy. I'm gonna go pack."
It's a gift. Hey, and well, for every drunken idiot that makes a fool out of himself or makes your job hard, I'm sure you've seen lots of nice sets of boobs.
Thousands of boobs. Oh, yeah.
Nobody's ever flashed in their sweet boobs.
Every now and then you got the girl on the shoulders. You're like, "Wow, does that make me a rock star?" I think I'm a rock star, guys.
I think I'm a rock star now.
That counts, right? Drop that down. Both times it happened, it was amazing. No, but yeah, awesome. I'd rather. Yeah, I don't really have any like terror. I mean, there's plenty. As trying to think of a specific moment where there was a really bad drunk. There's been plenty of them over the years, but it's just always washed away by all the goodness, the good people. But you just got to be able to handle a heckler. There's always going to be some guy yelling "Slayer" or fucking Freebird.
Yeah.
It got to the point where we would play the intro to Freebird and just to like, and then we were like, "I don't know how. You know what? I don't know. All right, cool."
Yeah, sorry. That's all we know. That's all we
and
play.
just to get them to shut the fuck up.
There's ways to get around people for sure, but like you're always gonna have some sort of situation at some point in your life where there's gonna be somebody that's trying to like ruin the good time for everyone else. And if you can turn it around and make it like they're the fool, then that's even better.
I don't really try to make, unless they really, really, really fuck with me or make it bad for everybody. I won't try and offend or be rude to them. I'll usually try and turn it into a way where they get it out. They get to be, because a lot of the time they're drunk and they want attention themselves.
Yep.
See, I'm not going to give them the goddamn microphone, but I'll give them a little laugh and make everybody like, "Oh, everybody, yeah, it's cool. I'm cool." And spread the love and make everybody feel a part of the show. I always want everyone to feel a part of the show too. But
you're trying to make fans, not like turn them away and go,
make
"Oh,
friends.
that guy was an asshole. Did you hear what he said? I'm going to look for him afterwards, get in a fight with him." That's where that road leads you. No.
That's happened once or twice, and it didn't go well for the guys.
No.
But yeah, I don't. If I have to, eventually, like, "Look, man, I'm trying to do my job. I don't come to where you work and slap the dick out of your mouth. So leave me the fuck alone, man." I got a million of those, but I don't have to go there. I can. I'm sorry. This is an adult show, right?
Right. Oh, always. But that's not the first one you go to. It's like, I'm going to try and have you on my side and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's last resort.
Right.
I'm also very curious about the feeling of like hearing people sing your own songs back to you.
That is there's something, the first time it happened to me, I might not have been Ren Fair. I've been doing the old shillelagh for many, many moons and was throwing original songs out and becoming a songwriter, essentially. I still, to this day, 15, 20 years later, am like, wow, I'm a singer-songwriter. Like, that's what I do. Like, I hear people, oh, this singer-songwriter. I'm like, oh, they're so talented, singer-songwriter. I never apply that to my, like, wait a minute. I sing and write songs that people like, too. I'm a singer-songwriter. Wow, who knew? But the first time it happens where people start singing your own songs back to you, it's, I can't even describe it. It's just a weird, you're like, oh, it shook me to my soul. It just made me feel like this is why I'm here. I'm supposed to be doing this. I need to share this with everyone, which is oftentimes when I finish writing something, like I'm in pre-production, I was showing Remy all the new stuff. Even the stuff I've written in the past 6 months, I sometimes look back at it and go, I don't know how I wrote that. Like, I know it was me with a pen and a paper and a guitar banging away, trying to figure it all out for a night or three. But when it's done, I'm like, it just sounds like it was already there. And I'm just the one who just wrote it down for everybody. It's like, so when people sing it back, there's a fulfillment there that I can't describe, that it just really gives you that. I don't know. I'm getting a little verklempt over here.
You should.
I feel like there's a purpose and a meaning to it all. And when you see little kids dancing to your music, like we used to call the spot we were at the Ren Fair, I called it the toddler or the stroller brigade, because parents would walk by. We had a couple paths crossing in our area, and we'd be playing. Parents would be walking by with their toddlers and their stroller, and the kids would start bouncing and shaking, and they'd be like, "What?" And they'd stop, and then they'd let the kids out, and they'd start jumping around, and it's the most amazing, beautiful. In fact, my best friend Liam, who's now 12, I met him when he was 3 years old because he started doing that. I was at his house Saturday night. I drink with his parents. He's not ready to drink yet, but I was at his house Saturday night. We had a bounce house and barbecue. We're all sitting 6 feet apart from each other around a fire and I told the story for the new album. But yeah, there's nothing like just having people like what you do. I don't know how to say it otherwise, but I'm a lucky man. I'm the luckiest man alive.
There is no other way to put that, because that's really what it is. It's just people loving what you do, and you bring that feeling to them, and that's probably super fulfilling.
I can't say how grateful I am to have that opportunity every chance I get it. Like, we played a show last week, Labor Day weekend was a weekend ago or two, and it was a drive-in show, like cars parked and far apart, and there weren't a lot of people there, but just being on a stage and having the opportunity to just rip and roar and just ow! Oh, it felt so good. I missed it. So it's been. I love it. Played.
Well, and the fact that there was enough people that wanted to go and see you in their car, like, that's awesome too. That's
at a drive-in, right?
That's a testament to the success that
you're not
built,
a movie,
Yeah. Yeah, we sold it out. Our best mates, the Corktown Popes, were in the same time slot with us, and the fact that the fact that we sold out the show, that means we raised $1,500 just by doing that for the Artist Relief Fund. Oakland County's matching all those ticket sales to kick in there. I was like, boom, there's $1,500 right there. And we wouldn't have been able to do that if we hadn't had the opportunity to play. And the Corktown Popes were fucking amazing too. I love those guys. Look them up. If you're listening to this, Stone Clover's okay. Corktown Popes are cool as fuck. They're my good friends. Check them out.
Okay, so let's give you one more chance to go ahead and tell everyone how they can donate. We've got about 5 minutes left, so.
Oh, I didn't even tell my little person story.
Oh no. We're gonna have to have you on again. Oh darn.
Oh darn.
So you can go to stonecloverdetroit.com, or band or music. I've got them all linked together, but Google Stone Clover, go to our website, and we have a link directly there for our fundraiser on GoFundMe. We also, if you don't like us or just want to donate directly to the artist, you're like, man, I don't like their music. Screw them. You can donate directly to the Artist Relief Fund on our website. It's right there. We have 2 links ready to go. If you hit ours, it's going to help us make our record, and everything we raise will be matched by Oakland County to help the Artist Relief Fund. If you donate directly to the Artist Relief Fund, that will be matched by Oakland County as well. So we're just trying to get the word out, raise some money, hopefully help some people, and while we're at it, maybe make some new music, That's my goal.
That's really what it's all about. I love
it.
Hey, if you're feeling generous, donate to both of them.
Or do both. Well, the thing is,
why not both?
If you donate to us, you're already donating to the other one, because it's
donate to both of them anyways.
It's just both.
Just give $20 instead of 10.
Yeah, if I had a day job, I'd be doing it myself.
Exactly. You know. Well, I do have a day job, so
Thank
I'll
you,
definitely
Paulie,
be
for
donating.
coming
I'll
on.
definitely be
Thanks for
buying his
having me.
t-shirt.
I feel like we should do this again sometime.
We're definitely gonna do this
Absolutely, we
again
will.
sometime.
And then, per usual, I just have to put a little thing out there for any of our listeners, our viewers slash listeners. If you have a story about your experience working in, hanging out at, just being around the service industry, please send us an email. We would love to hear your stories. And if you send us an email, we might read it online for free.
Oh
Give
my
you some
God.
credit
Tell
too.
your stories on Tales from the Barside.
We want to
That'd be
hear
awesome.
them. We want to tell them.
And you guys
So
are gonna
let
have
us know what's going on. I'm sorry?
You're gonna have a kick-ass theme song too soon if I have my way.
Please. We would
Paulie's
love
been working
that.
on a theme
we would
song for
love
us.
that.
Yep. It's coming soon. Coming soon.
It's
Thank
gonna
you
be a
so
big
much for
surprise.
being on, Paulie. We
Dude,
love
seriously,
you.
Paulie.
We love Stone Clover. We're so happy to have you on.
I love
Thank
you,
you guys for
brother.
having
And no, you're definitely welcome on Tales from the Barside. You're a friend of the show. You're welcome on anytime. So we're gonna check back with you in a little while and make sure that everything's coming to plan, and maybe
We'll
like
give people updates.
when that
and
first
then
EP drops, we'll start
We'll
hearing
also be
some stuff
posting
about
the
that.
links on our Facebook and Instagram and everything too. And hopefully we'll hear your EP soon. Post some stuff for you.
We'll have socially distanced yard beer soon, and I'll bore you with the story and music too if you're down.
That
Yes,
is definitely
absolutely.
happening. Thank you so much, you guys. Everybody have a great week. We will see you next week.
Bye.
Love you guys. Bye.
Love you too, Polly.